The sun hung low over a quiet suburban street, painting everything in shades of gold. The world felt peaceful, almost too peaceful, the kind of calm that hides something waiting to happen. A soft breeze moved through the trees, and the faint laughter of a child filled the air. A small boy, barely 2 years old, wandered down the driveway, his tiny hands clutching a bright red ball. Beside him walked Buddy, a golden retriever whose fur shimmered like sunlight. His eyes followed every step the boy took, loyal and protective, never more than a few feet away. The boy giggled as he wobbled forward, the ball bouncing against the ground. Buddy's tail swayed in rhythm, his gaze soft but alert. Across the yard, the boy's mother knelt in her garden, her hands buried in soil, her eyes occasionally glancing up with a warm smile. She saw her son and his faithful companion and felt at ease. What harm could come on such a perfect day? But fate moves silently, sometimes disguised as something as innocent as a rolling ball. It slipped from the child's grip, bouncing once, twice, then rolling down the driveway toward the open gate. The little boy's laughter followed it. He stumbled after the red blur, his small shoes tapping against the pavement. Buddy's head snapped up, his ears perked. He sensed something the child couldn't, danger humming just beyond the gate. The ball rolled into the street. A soft rumble grew louder. Down the road, a white delivery truck turned the corner, its driver distracted by a phone vibrating on the dashboard. The sunlight glinted off the windshield, hiding the tiny figure chasing the ball. The mother looked up just as the wind carried the sound of an engine. For one terrifying second, everything felt normal. Then the world tilted. Buddy moved first. Without a bark, without a thought, he launched forward, muscles coiling with desperate strength. The world around him blurred as he raced down the driveway. Dust lifted beneath his paws. The baby stepped onto the road, reaching for the red ball that had stopped just short of the truck's path. The truck's horn screamed. Tires screeched. The mother's voice broke the calm, echoing through the street, a cry of pure fear. Buddy didn't stop. His eyes locked on the baby. His heart pounded. His body became a streak of golden light cutting through shadow and dust. The truck loomed closer, its engine roaring, its shadow falling over the child. Time stretched thin. Every sound faded except the rhythm of Buddy's paws against the ground. The child turned, startled by the noise, eyes wide and innocent. The ball rolled again, spinning toward the edge of the tire's path. And then impact seemed inevitable. But before it came, a flash of gold filled the frame. Buddy leapt with every ounce of strength in his body, his motion caught between light and chaos. For a breathless second, everything froze. The truck's grill was inches away, the child's hair fluttered in the wind, and Buddy hung midair, caught between life and death, between instinct and love. The scene held, suspended in golden light. A heartbeat became forever, and in that single second a hero was born. They say a dog is man's best friend, but sometimes he's something more. Sometimes he's the reason a heart keeps beating, the reason a miracle happens on an ordinary street. The screen fades to black. The wind quiets. The last thing we see is the red ball, rolling gently to a stop beside a paw print in the dust. The sound of screeching tires tears through the silence, followed by a cloud of dust that hangs in the air like smoke after a storm. The world moves in fragments, slow, distorted, unreal. The truck stops only inches from the child. This horn fades into a low hum. A golden blur lies across the road. The child, frightened but unhurt, sits frozen, small hands clutching the red ball as tears fill his eyes. Buddy lies still for a moment, his chest heaving, eyes blinking against the light. Then he moves, slowly at first, then more surely. The child crawls toward him, murmuring a tiny, broken sound that only Buddy can understand. The mother runs, her scream slicing through the afternoon. She drops to her knees beside them, pulling the child into her arms. Her heart is pounding so violently that she can barely breathe. She looks at Buddy, her eyes full of disbelief and gratitude and fear all at once. Buddy lifts his head. His fur is streaked with dust, his nose scraped, but his tail thumps weakly against the pavement. The child's hand reaches out, trembling, and rests on Buddy's back. The dog leans into the touch, eyes closing for a moment of quiet peace. The mother's tears fall onto his fur. The truck driver, pale and shaken, steps out, hands trembling. "Oh my God, I didn't see him," he stammers. His voice is distant, hollow, like it's coming from another world. The mother doesn't answer. She's too busy checking her son. His little face pressed against her shoulder, sobbing but safe. Buddy pushes himself to his feet. His legs wobble, but he stands. The driver kneels down beside him, guilt heavy in his expression. "He saved the kid," he whispers, his voice cracking. "He saved him." The mother looks up, her hands still on Buddy's fur. "Yes," she says softly, "he did." The scene shifts. The paramedics arrive. Red and blue lights dance across the golden evening. Neighbors gather on the sidewalks, whispering, holding their breath. A camera phone shakes in someone's hand, trying to capture what can't be captured. The weight of love, the shock of almost losing everything. Buddy sits quietly on the grass as the paramedic gently examines him. A shallow cut near his leg, a bruise across his shoulder, but nothing broken. He's exhausted, panting heavily. The mother kneels beside him again. The sun hung low over a quiet suburban street. "Thank you, Buddy," painting everything in shades of gold. "Thank you." The world felt peaceful. He looks at her, almost too peaceful, tail brushing the ground. The kind of calm that hides something waiting to happen. Something that feels almost human. A soft breeze moved through the trees, understanding that words can't reach. And the faint laughter of a child filled the air. As the sun sinks lower, barely 2 years old, to stillness, wandered down the driveway. The truck is gone. His tiny hands have drifted away, a bright red ball, and the police cars beside him fade into the distance. A golden retriever carries the sleepy child like sunlight. His eyes followed every step the boy took. He looks down the road where the danger had come from, never more than a few feet away. His fur glowing. The boy giggled as he wobbled forward. The wind moved through the trees again. Buddy's tail swayed in rhythm, life returning. His gaze soft but alert. The house feels different. The boy's mother knelt in her garden. Softer. Her hands buried in his crib. Her eyes occasionally glancing up with a warm smile. Buddy lies on the rug near the door, his faithful companion, his body stretched out. His what harm could come on such a perfect day? The faint hum of a lullaby plays from the baby's room. Sometimes the mother sits as something as innocent as a rolling ball. She can't stop thinking about the child's grip, how close it had been, twice, how fast everything changed. Then rolling down the driveway, she reaches out, open gate, running the little boy's laughter followed it. "Do you know what you did today?" After the red blur, she whispers. His small shoes tapping against the pavement. Buddy lifts his head, snapped up, blinking slowly. His ears perked. His tail wagged. He sensed something the child just enough to make her smile. Danger humming just beyond the gate. She stays there for a long time, into the street, listening to the rhythm of his breathing. Louder. Feeling a calm she hasn't felt all day. A white delivery truck turned the corner. The moon rises over the neighborhood, phone vibrating casting a silver glow on the sunlight glinted off the windshield. The tire marks are still hiding the tiny figure, a faint reminder of what almost happened. The mother looked up, but just as the wind carried the sound of an engine. Pressed beside the mark of a small shoe. For one terrifying second, two imprints that tell a story without needing words. Then the world tilted. The next morning, the world wakes up the way it always does. Without a thought. Birds sing. He launched forward through the curtains, muscles coiling, and the baby's laughter fills the house. The world around him blurred as he raced down the driveway. The world moved forward. Dust lifted beneath his paws. Never faded. The baby stepped onto the road. The baby became reaching part for the family story. Stopped just told again and again. Path. The sometimes with laughter, sometimes with quiet tears. The mother's voice broke the calm, sat in the living room corner, echoing through the street. A little faded now, of pure fear. But no one ever threw it away. Stop. It had become a symbol of everything that mattered. His heart pounded. Loyalty. His body became the kind of courage golden that light cutting through shadow and dust. Buddy recovered. The truck loomed closer. His fur grew thick again. Engine roaring. His strength returned. Shadow falling over the child. And his energy filled the home like sunlight after a storm. Every sound every morning except the rhythm of Buddy's paws until the baby woke. The child wagging softly, startled by the noise, eyes bright with devotion, eyes wide and innocent. The now a little older, had learned spinning toward the edge of the tire's path. He said it with pure joy, seemed inevitable. A sound that made everyone smile. But before it came, the mother often found herself standing at the window. Buddy leapt with every ounce of strength in his body. The child would stumble his motion caught between light and chaos. Buddy would always be there. For a breathless second, patient, everything circling him gently like a guardian. The truck's grill was inches away. The sun would spill over them. Hair fluttered in the wind. And for a moment, time would stop hung midair, just like caught that between life and death. But now, it wasn't fear that froze her heart. The scene held gratitude, suspended one in golden light. As light poured became forever. And in that single second, a hero was born. A man stood there with a camera crew holding a man's best friend. He introduced himself as a journalist. Sometimes we'd like to do a short story on your dog beating, he said. The reason a miracle smiled shyly. Ordinary street. Buddy doesn't like the screen fades to black, she said. The wind quiets. Looking down as the golden retriever trotted up beside her. But Buddy gently to a stop beside as if he somehow knew this was about him. The sound of screeching tires in the yard through the silence. The journalist followed by a cloud of dust, and the mother hangs in the air like smoke after a storm. She spoke not about the day itself, the world moves in fragments, but about what Buddy meant to them. Slow, the way he seemed to understand without words. The truck the way he always stood between danger and the ones he loved. His horn fades into a low nearby. A golden blur drifting into the background of every child. The footage ended with Buddy resting under the same old tree. Small hands clutching the red ball his tears in gentle gold. Buddy lies still for a moment. His chest everywhere, news sites blinking against the television. Then he millions watched the moment Buddy jumped, then more surely. The child crawled in toward him around the world, murmuring a tiny. People cried. Broken sound. Some said they hugged their dogs tighter that night. The mother runs. Some said they didn't believe in miracles through the afternoon. They saw one wearing fur. She drops to her knees inside the family's home, pulling the child into her arms. To them, her heart is pounding so violently that she can barely breathe. Simply family. She looks at Buddy. He still waited by the high chair during breakfast, and gratitude and fear all at once. Buddy still curled up at the foot of the bed every night. His fur is streaked with dust. Life was ordinary again. His nose scraped in a way that felt extraordinary because of what they had almost lost. The child's hand reaches out. Later, the family went for a walk together. On Buddy's back. The air was cool. The dog leans into the touch with soft orange clouds. Eyes closing for a moment. The child held Buddy's leash. The mother's tears fall onto his fur. So the little hand. The truck driver. They pale and shaken on the street where it had all happened. Hands trembling. The tire marks were long gone. I didn't see him. He stammers. His voice is distant. The mother stopped there for a moment, watching him coming from another world. She reached down. The mother doesn't answer. She's too busy checking her son, she said softly. His little face pressed against her shoulder, curious, sobbing but safe. Then laughed and Buddy pushes himself to his feet. Once. His legs wobble, but he echoed across the street. The driver kneels down beside him, silhouettes fading into the warm expression. The camera lifts the kid. Following them from his voice cracking. The world glows with the calm of evening. The mother looks trees up, swaying, her hands still flickering on in the houses. Yes, the narrator's voice returns. He low and full of feeling. Shifts. Some heroes don't wear capes or stand red in the spotlight. And blue lights dance. Some don't ask to be remembered. Neighbors gather on the sidewalks, and in that love, they find their purpose. Holding their breath. Buddy never knew the camera phone shakes in someone's hand, but he lived it, trying to capture. He never knew the word sacrifice, the weight of love. But he proved it. The shock in his heart, losing everything. There was only one truth. Buddy sits quietly on the grass as the paramedic gently examines. The screen fades to the image of Buddy near his lying beside the child, a bruise across his shoulder. Both of them asleep under the setting sun. He's exhausted. The wind moves softly through the leaves. The mother kneels. The light flickers like memory, pressing her final line of narration whispers. Thank you, Buddy. Through the stillness, she whispers. They say dogs don't live forever. He looks at her, but maybe tail brushing the ground. They give us does. Eyes deep. The frame lingers on Buddy's peaceful face. An understanding then the picture fades slowly to black. Later, the sound of the baby's laughter echoing softly the street returns to stillness. The credits roll with quiet piano. The neighbors have drifted away. A final message and the police cars